Hey guys, today I'm gonna show you the new reaction video. Today I'm gonna show you the new video. This video name is The People's Court. Let's play this reaction video, okay?
So it was understood that she was coming to live in the house that, who's renting that house? Is it a rental or is it owned?
It's a rental.
Okay, whose name is on the lease?
My name is on the lease.
Okay, so did she understand that when you were starting your married life together that she would be moving into that same place?
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with the case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian is now presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Uridel Davis, you are suing Ms. Violetta Davis Reyes for $3,796.21 that you say she owes you on a debt. Explain to me what happened here.
Yes, Your Honor. Back on January the 18th of 2022, it came to my attention that the defendant had a Virginia tax debt, and I offered to loan her the money to pay the tax debt.
So that what?
So that she wouldn't get her check garnished, her paycheck garnished. Her and my daughter were getting married.
Okay.
So, and I've been through something like that before, so I know that it hurts your credit, even though it got straightened out, and I didn't want her to have to go through that, you know, since I had the money that I could help with.
And in fact, she paid you back a bunch of it, right?
Yes, $3,090.
Okay, so they get married when?
They got married, May 13th.
Okay.
Of 2022.
The marriage doesn't last very long, does it?
No, it does not.
All right. When does the defendant stop? Like, the defendant was making payments of a certain amount, correct?
Yes, $545, I do believe.
And in the first few months, she paid double that just to get ahead or whatever.
Yes.
When did she stop making payments?
It was agreed upon when they got married in May. That was okay, because I know she, you know, it was a lot of expenditures for the wedding. She made another payment in June. And then none after that.
This is payment fraud case.
And did you ever say anything to her about missing the payments?
In, I think it was July, my account was overdrawn. So I asked her, could she make the payment a couple of days early, you know, because my account was overdrawn. And she told me that, no, she had some other bills she owed for the apartment she was living in. She had to pay that, so she couldn't pay me.
Okay. So, come on up.
Yeah.
When you two got married, did you move into your mom's house?
No, the defendant and I were long distance, so she lived in Virginia and I lived in Connecticut.
Yes, long
I brought
distance.
my mom and my grandmother and my sister with me, and
How did you two meet?
online.
Okay.
We met online.
Okay.
So, had you ever lived in the same city before you were getting married?
No, we
Okay.
moved
Is this
in.
your first marriage?
Yes.
Okay. So it was understood that she was coming to live in the house that, who's renting that house? Is it a rental or is it owned?
It's a rental.
Okay,
Oh,
whose
this is
name is on the
rental.
lease?
My name is on the lease.
Okay, so did she understand that when you were starting your married life together that she would be moving into that same place?
Yes,
Oh, okay, so that was the plan.
that was the plan.
All right, so she moves into that place, and how does that go?
Not super great.
No, because you should probably try that out first before getting married.
Probably should have, yeah.
Yeah,
Not
so,
great.
Yeah, should have,
so
should
what
have.
happens?
She, you'd have to ask her. I have no idea when.
I'm gonna ask her.
Yeah.
I want to hear your version first.
When the shift happened, at first when we were dating, she was coming to see me all the time, and I was coming to see her. She got along with my mom, everybody in the family, and it was a little bit before we got married, and then after, for sure, where like the tone shifted. She no longer cared for my mother. It was very obvious based off of what she was saying, and she was very verbally. She was verbally abusive towards me.
Meaning? Fighting a lot? What do you mean?
Oh, it was screaming at the top of her lungs. We fought a lot. The fights were normally centered around things that had to do with my mother. My mother had.
But what was it? What do you think? If you had to describe it in a sentence, what was the issue?
Various things. I couldn't describe all of it. She was upset because she felt like she wasn't like the top of the household. She wasn't making the calls, the shots. She didn't have her name on the lease. She wanted to do this. So she wanted to move in and kind of immediately take control of what was going on in the household. And she'd only lived there, 3 months, so we didn't get that far.
Oh, 3 months.
It was like she wanted it to happen immediately when we moved in, or when she moved in. And when that wasn't happening, that caused a lot of friction between us. Mother.
What went wrong there? Because you were making payments on this all along. You paid half of it and then you stopped. What was the issue with the mom?
Well, I have several issues with her mother, but none of those are really relevant. The only one that we're talking about today is the money, right? So in regards to the money, like I mentioned before, her mother did offer to pay this debt. I confided in my then fiance at the time. Never asked her mother for the money because I didn't want to owe someone money. And
well, you owed Virginia money.
Well, yeah.
And they were about to garnish your wages, so you were paying the money you owed one way or another.
Virginia, and I would have rather worked something out with Virginia, which is what I told the plaintiff before she went and called and impersonated me to pay the money. After that,
who did that?
The mother did. I'm assuming.
Wait. Stop. According to you, the mother called and impersonated you?
Yes. Someone called.
You know that didn't happen, because I saw the text where you were saying, I want to do something nice for your mother besides pay her back. This is the nicest thing. Nobody's ever had my back like this. You didn't sound angry.
I was angry.
Yes.
Well, why are you so effusive about how great it is to be part of a family? You want me to read them to you, or you remember them?
I remember them.
All righty then. And then you're happy. You send the promissory note, and then you're paying according to the terms of the promissory note. So that's clearly an agreement and she's accepting your payments. And then one day you stop. Why do you stop?
Messy breakups are always upsetting. Testimony continues.
We went to lunch. She got upset there. She said I was throwing her marriage away. She said, obviously.
Did she feel like you were too much of a mama's girl or whatever, that you were too entrenched with your own family, that she wasn't able to build a life with you? Is that it?
Yeah, Judge.
Plaintiff says she loaned money to her soon-to-be ex-daughter-in-law so she could pay her taxes, and now the woman is stiffing her. The defendant says she was about to be part of the family, and the plaintiff gave her the money to help her out. Let's listen.
In regards to the money, right, I give her this promissory note because I'm the person that I am, and I say, okay, I'll pay you back the money. She reneges on how much she wants initially. She wants me to give her more up front because she's got to get some dental work done. So I put myself out financially, give her more of the money up front, and I'm struggling the entire time trying to relocate to a new city by myself. I have to break my lease early to come out here to help them with their bills because she's going through chemotherapy.
Okay, hold on, slow down. When did she get a diagnosis?
Cancer patient.
She got her diagnosis the day after our wedding, on a Saturday. So
that's a shame. All right, so how are you doing?
That's a sad story.
Cancer-free.
Cancer-free? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, wow.
All right, so when you move in there in May, what's the arrangement for who's paying the rent?
So this, again, is where the issue starts with the mother, right? One of the issues that I will talk about in regards to the money is these issues are now marital issues at this point because I'm moving in with my to-be wife, and her and I are supposed to be taking care of what the household finances will look like. So I discussed this with my to-be wife, what it would look like when I move in. She's aware of the fact that I had to break my lease early to come out here to help her be supportive of her mother, to which she was very supportive of because I had caretaken for one of my family members while they were under chemotherapy.
Okay, but hold on. When did you move up?
I moved up in June.
My
lease
but your marriage was in
May.
Okay.
So we went on the honeymoon and then I moved in.
May.
Okay.
It was very immediate, but I had to break my lease to do that. So my then wife knew what my financial situation was at that point, that I had to continue to pay my rent until my place was rented out.
What was the agreement about? Were you living there rent-free?
So the agreement was I was going to continue to pay the rent at my place, which was more than what their mortgage is. And I was going to continue to pay.
Is it a mortgage or is it a rental?
It's rent.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, excuse me, rental. Yeah, and again, when I moved in, the agreement between me and my wife was that my name would be on the lease.
Okay.
And then,
but what does that have to do? Like you had said earlier, I don't want to talk about that because I just want to talk about the money. What does that have to do with you deciding that you're no longer going to make the monthly payments that are on the promissory note?
Okay, so it had nothing to do with that at that time. At that time, in the month of May, she's correct. She mentioned that I had other expenses. The expenses were the $20,000 I spent on the wedding myself out of pocket. So she understood that I didn't have an extra $600 to give her. I paid for the honeymoon out of pocket myself.
So was there a plan about when you would start contributing to the rent or no?
for me and my wife, we had talked about it, and it was going to be after the place was rented out. I was going to assume
after the other place in Virginia.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay,
my wife and I discussed that.
Okay, go on.
The bills, the way. I wasn't only talking to my wife at that time. Now I had to talk to my mother-in-law because apparently her name isn't on the lease, but she has bills in her name. So as we start discussing some of the bills, she's telling me she's going to go through chemotherapy. She won't be working. So I offered to pay for the utilities during that time.
Because otherwise you wouldn't have paid anything.
During that time, I was not going to be able to continue to pay her.
I think she's
so how did you magically become financially able to pay the utility bills?
I didn't. I just didn't pay the monthly payment that I was supposed to pay her.
So how much in total did you pay in the utility bills?
For all of the utility bills that I paid, about $1,080.
And according to you, it's how much?
$705. Just for the month of July. That's all she paid.
Oh,
she didn't pay June?
She didn't pay June. She didn't pay August. She paid
Okay,
July.
stop a second. Hand me the evidence you're talking about that shows that you paid $1,000. Okay, this shows you were billed, and then this shows you paid $266 August 1st and $266 July 5th, and that's it. These are just two copies of this. Oh, no, let's see.
One is for the propane and one is for the electric.
Oh, yeah, right. So 995 is what that totals. It doesn't total either of your figures. So even if that were to be true, then why haven't you paid all the other months after that? Even if I were to say, oh, okay, this substitutes for a month and some change. Why didn't you pay after that?
So September is when I stopped making payments. And in September, I tore my Achilles tendon. And this is when I got kicked out of the house.
How did you tear your Achilles tendon?
I was doing martial arts.
Oh,
okay.
Martial arts.
And when you say you got kicked out of the house, you mean your wife and you guys broke up, right?
Yeah, via email. That's what I think the case is now.
Okay. So how did the breakup happen and why?
What happened this breakup?
Yeah, so she tore her Achilles, like she said. She didn't want to stay in the house during that time because she felt like it was a safety issue because we had stairs. And her and I lived upstairs. Mother and grandmother lived downstairs. So we agreed that she would go stay with my sister for about a week or two after her Achilles surgery to recover enough to be able to fill the stairs. She got upset. So I dropped her off at my sister's house on Monday. I was there every day, checking on her, making sure she was okay. Come around, it might have been Thursday of that week. That same week, my mother and grandmother happened to be out of town. There was a death in the family. She didn't know that I was at home by myself, and when she found out, she got very, very upset that I was home by myself. She demanded that I come take her home, and I said, I don't understand. We made an agreement that this was a safety issue for you. Why is it that you want to come home now? Just drop it off.
Did she just feel like she should be able to stay in the downstairs bedroom?
I think she wanted, she had an issue with my mother, and I think it was because my mother was out the house specifically was why she wanted to come, but could have also been the safety issue. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
Safety issue. And I told her, I said, well, can you give me a day? Because we had agreed, again, this is Monday, she had her surgery. This is like Thursday. I hadn't had any downtime. We had agreed that I was going to get the house ready, get it more accessible for her. Hadn't had time to do all that. So I said, can we wait? Can we pause? She wouldn't have any of that. I fell asleep. I woke up. She was livid that she said I disappeared for hours. I was asleep. I still went to see her that same day. So it was around 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I took her to lunch because even though she was fussing at me, I was still trying to make sure she was okay. We went to lunch. She got upset there. She said I was throwing our marriage away. She said, obviously.
Did she feel like you were too much of a mama's girl or whatever, that you were too entrenched with your own family, that she wasn't able to build a life with you? Is that it?
Yeah.
Right, but didn't you know you were walking right into this when you were moving into a home that had 8 other people in it, or whatever it was? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not the ideal situation. You know, your expectation was you would walk in and take over, and that also wasn't reasonable. But I hear you when you're saying, oh, you know, what kind of marriage is this where it's not you and I? But you knew that when you were walking into it, which is not ideal.
I can't decide.
Had either of you ever lived in the same city before you decided to get married?
Not guilty.
No, yeah.
That's just crazy. How long had you known each other before you decided to get married?
A year and a half.
Well, that's... you know, visits are mystical and little trips and exciting and adventurous living day in and day out with the same person is very, very different, you know? And it's just, I mean, and living in the same city at least, you know, before...
Same city.
Marriage is hard enough, but with a bunch of other people in the mix, then there's all these personality issues and hierarchy issues. And
I agree, and that's why I insisted that we get our own place, but my wife was not having that.
Well, then don't marry her until everything is really straight between the two of you, right? Like, it's not...
That's good advice.
Oh, well, that didn't need saying. That just didn't need saying.
Oh, man.
All right.
Oh, God.
So you guys break up, and I take it you were not happy about this because you felt like she picked her family over you.
She did, yeah, and that's fine.
All right. Now, why did it have to be so uncivil in your eyes?
There was a lot of things that happened between us in terms of when we separated, I really started to conceptualize what it was. It was emotional abuse, and there's, with all due respect, I don't need any validation from the courtroom or anyone. I've been through therapy. I was on medication. Like, it was emotional abuse and verbal abuse that was happening quite frequently. And then the way she left, saying that we weren't taking care of her, just making it seem like we were treating her like trash and she just had to flee off into the night was very inaccurate. So to be honest... Did
you ask her to leave or did she leave on her own?
She left on her own, and I have proof that she left on her own.
Were you trying to get her to come back?
No, because she asked to be left alone, and I also have proof of that.
Okay, I did see that in the text.
She asked me to leave me.
And so there's apparently, because it's a subject of the counterclaim against you folks, well, against your mom. There's a counterclaim against you for property that you left there?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, but my understanding is that you came back at some point in the company of the police to get your belongings.
I did, and because I was still physically disabled, I could not go down into the basement to verify that they took all of my items. I also emailed my wife right after and told her that I think I left some things there, and I know that I left.
Well, I mean, it's not like, you know, a brooch and a pendant. It's a motorcycle. You know whether you left a motorcycle.
Correct, and again, because I couldn't drive or walk at the time, I left those items.
Did you go back to the police to ask to arrange for another time to be able to go back there?
I did. I actually went.
And they said no because you get one shot. But now, is she reaching out to you and asking you to please? Okay, so what was the issue? Why is it you felt that the police needed to be present when she comes? So after she picked up her stuff the first time, are you saying she never reached out to you to say, hey, I need the rest of my stuff?
I'm not saying that. She did say that. And
okay, so then what did you say in response?
I told her that we needed to make an arrangement. You know, she needed to tell me ahead of time so that we could make an arrangement for her to come get her things. That's what I said.
Were you requiring the police to be there?
Welcome back to the People's Court. I'm Harvey Levin.
Oh, man.
So she's having a lot of trouble trying to get her soon-to-be ex-daughter-in-law to pay her back money that she is owed, and that's why they're in court. But the defendant says she doesn't owe this woman a penny because the money was a gift to help her and her daughter out as they started their new life together. Let's see what the judge thinks.
The first time, I had heard that she had been, and by heard, she was in, they called me from the psychiatric hospital. They told me that she had been having delusions, specifically concerning my mother, stealing her identity. They said there was some other things going on. And at the time, because of the way that she escalates situation, I didn't feel safe with her coming into the home with my mother and my grandmother. My mother was still doing her cancer treatments at the time, and I wanted someone present to basically keep the peace that first time.
But, okay, so the police won't go with her a second time. Do you have her belongings?
I'm talking about the first time. The second time, no. I didn't even know about the second time until recently.
So after she picked up her stuff the first time, are you saying she never reached out to you to say, hey, I need the rest of my stuff?
I'm not saying that. She did say that. And
okay, so then what did you say in response?
I told her that we needed to make an arrangement. You know, she needed to tell me ahead of time so that we could make an arrangement for her to come get her things. That's what I said.
Were you requiring the police to be there?
No, she did that on her own. I didn't require police to be there.
Okay. And did she not answer and say, I'd like next Saturday? How does that work?
She did answer.
And then what did you say?
I said, it's not going to work for me. That's what I said.
Meaning that day?
That Saturday.
Okay, so then did you say to her, how about next Saturday? Like, come on, don't make me fish like this.
I asked her to leave me alone. That's what I did.
Okay, and then you still have the motorcycle?
It's outside the house. It's at the house.
Has it been stolen?
No.
Okay, do you still have a mattress and bed frame? Is that hers or no?
I don't know if that's there or not. If it is, it's in the cellar. I haven't been down. It's dark and damp down there.
Okay.
I don't go often.
All right. So Ms. Davis is. You have never called Ms. Davis about the motorcycle or anything else like that, right?
That's correct, because again, these are two separate issues. She just same way she never reached out to me.
I would like to. Then I agree with you. You can't make a counterclaim because you're making a counterclaim against Mom, and you're telling me, well, they're two separate issues. What does Mom have to do with it? If you never asked Mom, hey, I'd like to go get my stuff, and Mom didn't say, no, you're not coming, then how does she prevent you from getting her stuff? How do you sue Mom for it?
I'm glad you asked, Your Honor. Well, if you can see on the timestamps that I sent you, I sent the email to my wife asking her if I could come and get the remaining things. The same day, the mother sends me a response in email. First time I heard from the mother since May, asking me why I haven't paid her back the money.
Right.
The two things are clearly related in her eyes.
Okay, so but are they related in your eyes?
To me, I feel like this is my property.
Right, but why aren't you suing your wife or have you guys divorced yet, or are you in the midst?
In the midst.
Okay, so why aren't you bringing it up if you have property and you're divorcing? Here's a thought: bring it up in the divorce.
I feel like the money that is owed as a gift from the mother is also part of the divorce.
First of all, that money is not a gift.
That's true.
Okay, I know it's not a gift. She knows it's not a gift. She knows it's not a gift. And you certainly know it's not a gift. That's why you've paid back half of it.
Yes.
All right? Because if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. Okay? And then you stop paying because you had to afford to pay your prior apartment, and then you were also helping with the propane. Fine. Then all of a sudden, you just never pay again. I'm not going to count it against your debt. Now, that means you owe $3,796 to the lady, and she wants the rest of her money because that was always a plan, that she's not in the middle of you two. And then you've put her in the middle of you two by saying, she won't give me my motorcycle, my this, and so I'm just not paying, and I'm suing Mom for $5,000. How?
$5,000.
Have you ever been married before?
Yes.
How many times?
Just once.
Okay. Ms. Davis is not responsible for the division of property between you and your wife.
Yes.
If you have a filed case in divorce court and family court, bring that up there and let the judge set the parameters of how the property is going to be transferred. Make sure that part of what you achieve in the settlement that you both sign includes taking care of this business. But that's between you and a different defendant who's not in my courtroom. You're not counterclaiming her. You're counterclaiming Mom, and Mom isn't holding on to it. So on your counterclaim, 0. On Mom's claim, $3,796.21 verdict for the plaintiff.
Thank you.
All right, both sides, hold on, please.
So the plaintiff reveals she is going to get the $3,796 back, and let's see what the defendant has to say about that. What's your reaction to what has just happened?
I'm not surprised. I mean, there was never an issue of she never reached out to me. It's the first time I've heard from her in 5 months. You know, I'm not surprised that they think that the issues are different, even though she's brought herself in the middle of this.
This turned out to be a bad deal all around, didn't it?
Yep, it sure did.
All right, I'm sorry you didn't get anything on your countersuit, so that'll do it. You got to pay her the $3,700, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see what the plaintiff has to say now. She's on her way out of the courtroom. She gets the money back.
Finally.
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 This has been an ordeal for you, huh?
It has. You know, I've learned a lesson. You know, you try to help people, you know, and...
Good judgment.
You know, understanding agreement is agreement, you know, and some people just don't understand that. They want to mix business, and it doesn't work that way. And I wish her all the best. Just stay away from me.
Well, congratulations, all right? Sorry the marriage is over, but at least, Ms. Davis, you're going to get your money back.
Yes.
Okay?
Thank you.
Finally.
Thank you, finally.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
So that'll bring this case to a close. All right, thank you so much. All right, Harvey, interesting
This
case.
case is
What are your
dismissed.
thoughts?
Well, Doug, this is another case where the judge had to determine whether this was a loan or a gift. You should know, in the law, there was...
Okay, man. This is nice video. Okay, still then, next video. Bye bye.